His final interview before execution. The execution was only 3 days away. That was all the time Jeremy Mila had left to live. But when the interviewer sat across from him and asked the question everyone expected him to avoid, Jeremy didn't look away. He didn't cry. He didn't ask for mercy. He simply leaned toward the microphone and said, "If they believe I killed him, then they should have the opportunity to kill me." The room went silent. Because this wasn't the answer of a man begging for his life. It sounded like a man who had already accepted his death. But there was one question nobody could answer. What had happened to Jeremy Mila that made death sound easier than another morning behind bars? Interviewer: Jeremy, you're going to be dead in a few days. Are you prepared for that? Jeremy stared at the floor for several seconds. Then he slowly looked up. Jeremy: I don't think anybody is prepared to die. Pause. But I've had a lot of time to think about it. The interviewer leaned closer. Interviewer: Are you afraid? Jeremy smiled faintly. Jeremy: I'm afraid of what happens to the people I leave behind. That answer immediately changed the direction of the interview. Because Jeremy had a son. And for years, prosecutors had argued that the man sitting in front of them was responsible for a brutal killing. The jury had believed them. The judge had sentenced him to death. And now there was no appeal left that could stop the clock. Interviewer: What did you hope for your son? Jeremy's expression changed. For the first time his voice became unsteady. Jeremy: I wanted him to have a better life than mine. He swallowed. I wanted him to know his father wasn't just the man they put on television. The interviewer didn't interrupt. Jeremy continued. People will tell him what I did. People will tell him what kind of man I was. He paused. But I hope one day he asks himself who I really was. Then came the question that had haunted the entire case. Interviewer: Did you kill him? Jeremy looked directly into the camera. No hesitation. Jeremy: If Jeremy Mila said I killed him? He stopped. Then whispered. Then they should have the opportunity to kill me. The interviewer froze. Interviewer: Are you saying you deserve to die? Jeremy shook his head. Jeremy: No. A long silence. I'm saying if I took someone's life, then I can't stand here and pretend their family should forgive me. That sentence would later become one of the most chilling moments of the interview. But Jeremy wasn't finished. Interviewer: What do you want your grandchildren to remember about you? Jeremy laughed quietly. Not because anything was funny. It was the kind of laugh people give when a question hurts too much. Jeremy: I don't know if they'll ever know me. He looked down at his hands. Maybe they'll just know a photograph. Another pause. Maybe they'll hear stories about the bad things. Then he raised his eyes. But if they ever ask whether I was scared at the end. Jeremy leaned toward the microphone. Tell them I was. 3 days later, the final morning arrived. There were no more interviews. No more appeals. No more lawyers walking through the door with good news. Just a clock. And every minute that passed brought Jeremy closer to the execution chamber. His final meal was placed in front of him. He barely touched it. An officer asked if he wanted to make a final statement. Jeremy thought about it. Then he said, "Tell my son I loved him." The officer asked, "Anything else?" Jeremy looked toward the door. "Tell him I'm sorry he had to lose his father this way." And that was it. No dramatic speech. No screaming. No final attempt to convince the world. Just a father thinking about his son. A man facing the final minutes of his life. And a question that would remain long after the prison doors closed. Was Jeremy Mila a cold-blooded killer who finally accepted his punishment? Or was there something about the case the world never fully understood? Because sometimes the most disturbing part of a death row interview isn't what the prisoner admits. It's what he refuses to explain. And 3 days before his execution, Jeremy Mila left the world with exactly that kind of silence.